Vince McMahon apparently planned to bury a current SmackDown superstar. Also, Ronda Rousey has mocked WWE's budget cuts, and a Raw star has teased a huge gimmick match, possibly in the future. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Hello everyone, we're back again with more news. If you missed the earlier news video today, you can find it on this very channel. But now, Ross, we're talking about how Vince McMahon planned to bury a certain SmackDown superstar, a certain SmackDown champion.
Gunther, the ring general. Gunther, of course, Gunther appeared on Raw back on April the 7th of this very year. Was it April the 7th or June the 4th?
It's hard to tell with the American.
It was. He appeared and he took on R-Truth in a little segment where R-Truth was dressed as Uncle Sam. He was giving some sort of American propaganda. Yeah. And then Gunther came down to the ring, sort of slapped R-Truth's silly hat off his head. It took 2 goes, which wasn't the most, seamless removal of the hat from the head. He then delivered some sort of powerbomb, which again wasn't the prettiest powerbomb. And off the back of that, WrestleVotes have been saying, following that appearance on Raw, those in power at the time really soured on Gunther for whatever ridiculous reason, to the point where a burial on TV was coming just a month later, and quite the difference.
Oh, so it must be on the 4th of July.
Yes.
Oh, the 4th of July. He was dressed as Uncle Sam. It was Independence Day.
Can you tell we're not American?
Yeah, you can. But that makes sense well, no, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense that was when it was, but it doesn't make sense that why that would have led to them wanting to bury him.
I don't know. The 2 big spots of this beatdown, right? The slap of the hat off the head, that didn't go well. And then the power bomb. If you're splitting hairs, it wasn't like a Kevin Nash special. It was more like when Kevin Nash did it at the Giant, maybe something like that. Yeah. But I guess I don't know. I guess if you're Vince McMahon and you're looking at someone like Gunther, who's a ready-made man, and his gimmick is, of course, it was made elsewhere, and now he's coming in with a gimmick that Vince didn't create. He's looking for any reason to bury him. And I guess that was it.
It also kind of talks. It kind of is an example of the inconsistency and the pushes and the stop-start nature of the Vince regime in the latter days.
Good riddance to Vince as well, because after SmackDown last week, it's good to see Gunther flourishing.
He's really doing well. Oh. Yeah, that match with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yes.
But then also, this leads nicely into what Road Dogg was talking about on the recent edition of the Oh You Didn't Know podcast. Did I do that?
Really well done.
Thank you very much.
It was almost like he was sat here.
Road Dogg was talking about the differences between Vince McMahon and Triple H, Ross.
Vince, and everybody kind of knows, had an idea of what his wrestler looked like, and it was Hulk Hogan, it was The Rock, it was Stone Cold. It was big, brawny, attractive, or hideous, whatever it is, but a bigger guy. Hunter is more of a wrestler's guy, a wrestling guy. He likes people that can wrestle really well. Look, Johnny Gargano would never be on Vince's show. He was Road Dogg, he was really
for a second, yeah.
But there's a good chance he's on Hunter's show because he was really good at wrestling. I don't think Vince McMahon and Triple H see things that differently. I just think they see things. One was a promoter that became an owner of a company, and then one was just a top guy talent who learned from the old school of Hard Knocks by being a top guy and working under. I don't know. They're different, aren't they? But they're the same.
Why did he say that they were the same and then go on and talk about how different they were?
I don't know. He's just looking to fill time on his podcast, I think. But we've learned there that Vince McMahon likes big, sweaty men. Triple H likes wrestling men.
Yeah. I guess maybe he clarifies what he means right at the end here, saying I think they both have similar leadership strategies, but as far as talent and look, Vince likes a bigger guy, Hunter likes a better wrestler.
Interesting.
It's nothing that we didn't suspect already.
I guess it's nice to hear sort of confirmation from someone who was there.
Yeah, that is very true, actually. Elsewhere, Ronda Rousey has mocked WWE's budget cuts. She was sharing a photo of her dumping money on the desk on SmackDown because she came along
really good
and went, I've brought money for my next fight as well because I'm about to wreck house.
And I could afford it.
Yes, which is I like that. It's a good angle. But she wrote on Twitter, use that cash wisely, WWE.Maybe it can help with those budget cuts. Bring, in the inverted commas as well, bring some asses for me to kick.
Now, Ronda Rousey is... I think I'm going to, piss poor, we'll say, when she's scripted and you can tell she's reciting the script in her head. Yeah. When she's let loose and she can just say whatever she wants, she's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I think so as well.
I know, I don't think this is quite mocking budget cuts. I just think this is picking a topic that's very close to the line that'll get people talking. I don't think it's really... Do you think it's mocking them?
I don't know, because the fact that she went budget cuts means that were they really ones or not? But I don't
just
know.
saying what we're saying, though, isn't it?
I know, but either way, it was good. It was definitely, as you say, better than scripted Ronda Rousey saying big flowery words, and it doesn't really come across very genuine. I much preferred this. Corey Graves was speaking on After the Bell and was talking about having more fun on commentary with Triple H in charge.
I love cliffhangers. He says the elements of surprise, you got to keep the people guessing. Not everything needs to be a surprise because not everything is going to captivate you in that way. But right now, in the past few weeks, I'm having more fun calling Monday Night Raw because I love being surprised. I prefer not to have any clue as to what's happening on the show. I get to react, I get to be a fan, I get to play the role of a super knowledgeable wrestling fan rather than a snarky bad guy announcer.
That's interesting.
Shut up, Jack!
What?
Just doing what he does to Byron Saxton.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting because I remember when JR came to WCPW, and I remember Sam telling me that JR didn't want to know in the production meeting the finishes of certain matches or what was going to happen. He just wanted to know who was involved, what their motivation was going in, but he didn't want to know the results because he wanted to react organically as a fan.
And I thought that would have been the case all the way through. For like, if an announcer makes it known to the powers that be, I just don't want to know. I thought that would have been the case, but it would appear that when Vince McMahon was in everybody's ear, he would be like and give away the match results like that before they happened.
I can see that being the case just because Vince was controlling, he was micromanaging everything, wasn't he? Every little detail.
Yeah, he's controlling his narrative.
Yes, he was controlling his narrative. That's where he's going to pop up next. That's not news. I made that up. New Japan have taken to Twitter to tease a UK show announcement. They just put hashtag NJPW and then the arrow with soon underneath, which I've never understood as an emoji really. Then a Union Jack and then 3 dots.
That's an ellipsis for everybody.
That's an ellipsis.
That's a dramatic pause.
It seems like they were discussing a future UK show at a recent press conference, and this is kind of building off the back of that. If New Japan were to come back to the UK, I want them to branch out from London.
I was going to say, have they had a show since the Copper Box days?
Not that I can think of, no, but I might be wrong. But that to me seems like the last one. And I remember that was on a weekend where there was like 2 other major shows going on at the same time as well.
Hey, they should take a lead from Progress Wrestling. Look at Progress now. First title change outside of London and Sheffield. New Japan do the same sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Back over now to NXT, where Zoe Stark was talking on After the Bell with Corey Graves. She talked about how I did not know this at all. When she was injured, obviously she recently came back and everything, but when she was injured, she was working as a NXT producer and said she did it to help herself and others.
Yeah, you know, when you coach somebody, 2 people are learning. That's a good way to look at things, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm learning and at the same time because I'm now really having to think about it. It's amazing to be able to do both sides and then you get a different side and like, oh, this is what producers have to go through. I had no idea.
Do you know what surprised me about this? I had no idea that the WWE viewed her as someone who was possibly a coach as well.
I think this is something they do in NXT more so than the main roster because I think back to Bayley when she was there and she got injured. I don't know if she was even injured during an NXT run, but I saw a documentary where she was just doing everything. Do you know CM Punk when he was part of OVW, was it? What was the thing where he was working with Heyman?
Oh,
just before his main roster.
Or was it Florida Championship?
Whatever it was,
yeah.
He was working under Heyman and he was coming in every single day and learning like the production side of things. He was learning this bit and that bit, the other bit. Bayley was doing the same basically in NXT. So I reckon that when people are off for a prolonged period of time like she was with a dodgy knee, they just get people to come in and learn every single facet of the business. So.
And that could help them in the ring when they return.
Well, yeah,
as Zoe Starks just kind of alluded to there on After the Bell. That's very interesting. I like that. I think that's a good idea. Yes. And finally, Dakota Kai's been really cheeky on social media. She's teased a potential huge gimmick match in the future because she shared the match graphic for the 6-woman tag team match at Clash at the Castle and then wrote, "I smell war and I'm game."
I don't know what this means.
No, I can't think of it either.
I don't know what this means.
Now, Dakota Kai obviously has a history of War Games matches. That's what I thought she was alluding to.
And shocking War Games turns with Tegan Knox in the cage. That
God.
Bitch.
How dare she do that? Now, I don't know if this means that she's just referring to that history that she has in War Games, or is there a possibility of War... With Triple H in charge of the main roster now, there's every chance that
we need a button where that's just a repeated like quote on the news. With Triple H in charge, anything could happen.
Yeah.
I always thought when it ever did get to the main roster, the War Games match, they have to change the name because of the war bit. Because obviously, you know, sponsors and that and shareholders and this sort of thing won't take kind of that sort of thing. You look at the Viking lads. I guess that kind of applies here
now. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they would. Do you think they'd bother doing it if they had to change the name?
Oh, maybe.
Just call it
Blood and Guttingtons.
Yeah.
Blood and Butts, as I said on the news a little while ago. Let's call it that.
I hope it happens, though. I think it'll be very good. But I'm also looking forward to that 6-woman tag team match. Who is it again? Dakota, Io, and Bayley against Bliss, Asuka.
And Bianca.
Oh, obviously the big one, the champion.
The big one.
And Bianca Belair. Yeah, that should be really good as well. We'll keep you up to date as the Clash at the Castle card continues to take shape. And do leave any of your thoughts and opinions in that comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching. Look out for news throughout the week. And look out, as I mentioned on video 1, for those exclusive interviews with Big Damo and Takeshita from Progress Wrestling, courtesy of Fraser Porter. And Aidan Gibbons had a hand in it as well, I believe.
Did he?
He was there. as well.
What was he doing?
With Fraser. I don't know what the roles were, but they did a really good job.
I reckon Fraser was making Aiden get him a coffee and other beverages because that's what Fraser does to people he works with.
And also, look out for those interviews on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast feed. Just search Cultaholic wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.